good morning, and welcome to the 𝗦𝗵𝗲 show. Thank you for always tuning in. You guys are absolutely amazing, and we love you. We love the fact that you always take out your time, because time is more valuable than money. And, the first thing is showing up. And because you guys always show up, we always want to implore our value onto you. And so today, my amazing co-host, Ria, is going to be leading the conversation. So I hope you are excited. I'm excited what she's going to talk about. So welcome to the show. My name is Alka.
My name is Ria,
and welcome to our show. So Ria, I'm going to pass the mic on to you.
Thank you, Alka. Today's topic is financial IQ number 3 from the book Increasing Our Financial IQ by Robert Kiyosaki. So let me share the screen with you so I could start. And I have 10 lessons that I would like to share with you today. And today's topic is financial IQ number 3, which is budgeting our money. So lesson number 1, and I'm going to be sharing 10 lessons. Poor Dad says we have to do this. These are coins, and this is us in a form of a tree. Poor Dad says live below our means. Means money, means our financial resources. So that poor dad would say, live below our means. Now, to contrast it, rich dad advise, we've got to do this. These are faucets with water. These drops of water are like drips of income coming in from different sources or different faucets. So rich dad would say, instead of living below our means, we also strive for expand our means, expand our money, expand our financial resources. Third, these are the coins, and this is our plant. So living below our means is not, that's our brain, financial IQ. It's not financially intelligent way to become rich. Lesson number 4. There's 2 kinds of budget, according to the book. Now, this is a diagram. It's like a seesaw. So you have a money here and a money here. So this is a budget of deficit, and a budget of surplus. So these are the two kinds of budget, a budget of deficit and a budget of surplus. Lesson number 5. And that's why financial intelligence number 3, which is budgeting our money, is very important. When I say budget, there's two kinds. Remember, there's a budget deficit and a budget surplus. Lesson number 6. Therefore, we need to learn how to budget for this. We need to learn how to budget for surplus, because it is the key. It is the key for it is the key for becoming rich and maintaining or staying rich. Lesson number 7. What is a budget? You may ask. A budget is a plan. It is a plan for the coordination of our resources and expenditures. Resources could be our income. Resources could be things that we already have. Expenditures are our expenses. Lesson number 8. Rich Dad says most people, we use our budget as a plan to become poor or middle class. Lesson number 9. Rich Dad also says most of us, we operate on a budget deficit. We operate on a budget deficit rather than on a surplus, a budget surplus. Lesson 10. This is again a pot with coins. And this is us, the tree or the small plant, versus and these are drips of income. And they all lead to the big why Rich Dad would say most of us operate on a budget deficit rather than on a budget surplus because of this. Why? Because most of us live below our means rather than expanding our means. So yes, in the beginning, we should try to live below our means. However, we should strive to continuously expand our means. So to recap on today's subject, which is financial IQ number 3, budgeting our money. Lesson number 1, Poor Dad says, live below our means. Means could mean money, means could mean financial resources. Lesson number 2, Rich Dad says, we need to expand our means. We need to expand our money, our resources. So these are faucets, and these blue drops are sources of income. So we should not just rely on one income. We should have multiple drips of income. That is what it means by expanding our means. Lesson number 3, living below our means is not a financially intelligent way to become wealthy. Number 4, there's 2 kinds of budget. Budget deficit and a budget surplus. Lesson number 5, financially IQ number 3, which is budgeting our money, is very important. Lesson number 6, therefore, we need to learn how to budget for surplus. We need to learn how to budget for surplus. Because why? This is the key to becoming wealthy and to maintaining or staying wealthy. Lesson number 7, what is a budget? A budget is a plan. It is planned for coordination of our resources, the income or the things that we have, and the expenditures, our expenses. Lesson number 8, Rich Dad says, most of us use our budget as a plan to become poor or middle class. Lesson number 9, Rich Dad also say, most of us operate on a budget deficit rather than on a budget surplus. Lesson number 10, and that is why we live below our means versus expanding our means. So majority of us will live in the deficit. So in order for us to get out of the budget deficit, we need to continuously, not only initially, especially when we're starting out, we live below our means and continuously expand our means, our money, our financial resources. We got to think, how do we expand our means? How do we have more financial resources? So stay tuned. I'll be discussing more about increasing our financial IQ from the book of Robert Kiyosaki. So hopefully you learned something, and let me know in the comment section below what you learned from our Alka and Ria show today.
That's amazing, Ria. Thank you for sharing. Do you know what? I absolutely love what you said when it comes to, we need to learn how to budget for the surplus. Because I mean, when we you know, look at it, governments are always, you know, they're always budgeting, and they have a deficit. If there's a deficit, they're always wanting, or sort of how they could, you know, forecast that, you know, how they can forecast the, you know, when it comes to the deficit. But I also like that because, you know, it's the key to becoming wealthy. Because if you are not living below your means, right? It's not a question, but I guess it's more of a comment that, you know, and the viewers could also, maybe that's the point they got. But what I got from that is that if you stay below your means, then that's how you're going to learn to, you know, be more resourceful when it comes to creating wealth.
What I also learned from the book, living below our means is a way for us to save money, but we cannot just work our way to savings, because like where we are right now, we are in an inflationary world that we live in. So if we continue to just save, we live below our means because we save, that saving will be eroded by the inflation. Our inflation rate right now, what is reported, it is 8%. Actually, the inflation rate, according to the experts, is more than 8%. It could be 11% on certain US states, or it could be even 15%, as high as 15%. So what you have to consider, if we have $10 or just $1, to make it simple, $1, we are losing 8%. 8% of $1 is like 8.08 cents. So that's already being eaten up. So our $1 is not $1. We are just, we are losing by not doing anything. So how can we make use of that money? We need to expand our means. We've got to invest it in other resources, other ways. We cannot just save to save. We need to save and deploy that money. But before we deploy it, increasing our financial IQ is very important. We cannot just go, hey, because others are doing it, I'm going to do what they're doing. What you have to consider is that you need to know what they're doing. I need to be financially educated before I deploy that money. So there's a lot of investment vehicles out there. You just need to know what you love to do, because you have to study that. And it takes time, it takes money to learn this, investments. So learn it. And then once you have that learning, go deploy it.
Absolutely. And I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that, Ria. Absolutely amazing. Well, guys, I hope you got tons of knowledge from that, because I think it's absolutely a conversation that, we all need when it comes to money. What are we doing with the money? Whether, we're on the deficit or on the surplus, what are we doing and where are we on the scale? So, drop it in the chat. What have you learned from today's conversation? Because it truly is needed. And, stay tuned for, what's more to come from the book, from Robert Kiyosaki's book. And obviously he has tons of knowledge, and Ria, she's going to be sharing more knowledge with you as we go along in the program. But for now, thank you for joining. You're always tuning in.